Sup guys, downtown991 here, bringing you a 5th gen RU match from Pokemon Showdown. This is a pretty long battle, and this playback's pretty fast, so I might get behind on the commentary as it goes along. I'm playing the RU a lot recently. It's pretty fun tier, and so I'm going to play this battle for you. Hope you enjoy. I have a battle against Portis260. It's a pretty decent battle, actually, so this is really actually a pretty good battle. So he leads with his Typhlosion. I lead with my Crustle. He goes for the Eruption, and I go for the Stone Edge, but I miss. That would have KO'd the Typhlosion, but in hindsight, I probably should have just set up the Stealth Rocks. He's switching into Sceptile, predicting me to switch out into my Slowking. I switch out, he predicts that switch out and goes to the Sword Stance, and I'm thinking that he's just going to able to one-shot my Audino, but in actuality, it survived, so I was pretty impressed by that. So I switch out and go to my Confagrius. He goes for the Leaf Blade. I'm going to go for a Will-O-Wisp on a Sceptile, because since it's a Sword Stancing set, but he predicts that and goes out into his Typhlosion. And at this point, I think that I'm going to switch out and go to my Slowking to take whatever this thing's going to throw at me. It goes for Eruption, and I'm just going to go for a Scald. Actually, no, I'm going to go, I actually predict his switch and go for a Thunder Wave, and I actually enable the Thunder Wave as Uxie, which is pretty cool for me, because Uxie can kind of be annoying, since it's a pretty good wall in its own right. So it gets paralyzed, and I'm going to go for a Wish. It goes for a U-turn, and I think it U-turns out into Typhlosion. Here I'm just going to go for a Protect to see what this Typhlosion does. I'm pretty sure it's Scarf, because that's what most Typhlosions run. So it goes for a Focus Blast. I'm going to switch out into my Confagrius. It predicts that, and he predicts that and goes out into his Nidoqueen. Actually, no, I go out to my Slowking and go for the Scald. He switches back into his Uxie. My bad. And here I think I switch into my Crustle as he goes for the Thunder Wave. Here I probably should have gone for the Stealth Rocks, but I was fearing like Psychic or something. So I switch out and go into my Audino. He goes for the Toxic, I go for the Toxic, he hits, I miss. It set me back a lot of turns. So he switches out into Nidoqueen, predicting my Toxic, and that's pretty good on his part. Here, I go for a Wish as he goes for a Sludge Wave. And I think I just switch into my Confagrius this turn. And Earth Power is a lot. So I'm trying to get a burn on this thing, so he decides to switch out into his Typhlosion to take the burn again. The prediction on his part. In here, I'm going to switch out into my Slowking, because I know I can wall this thing better with Slowking than I can with Confagrius. My bad. Anyway, so I go for a Dragon Tail this turn, I believe, as he brings in his Uxie. Dragon Tail him out into his Nidoqueen. And this Nidoqueen actually is a bulky set, I'm pretty sure, based on the damage it does and the damage I do to it. And so I go for another Scald as he brings in his Uxie. And here I switch out into my Crustle. And here I'm predicting him to go for something. He goes for Stealth Rocks, and here I'm going to try and set up my Stealth Rocks, but I get paralyzed this turn, which is really, really bad, because I'm really trying to get my Stealth Rocks up, and his Alomola goes for the Scald, and I knew I couldn't stay in on an Alomola Scald, even though it's not that strong. It probably still would have KO'd me. Anyway, so he goes for the Wish, I go for the Wish, and I predict him to switch out into his Sceptile, which he does, and I go for a Toxic, and so I get all my HP back, and he gets all his HP back. But he's Toxic, and I'm Toxic, so I'm going to go for a Flamethrower, predicting him to go for like a Sword Stance or something like that. But he just switches out into his Alomola, and that Flamethrower does nothing to him. So in here I believe I switch out, or no, I predict him. Do I switch? Yeah, I do switch out. I go into my Slowking as he goes into his Nidoqueen. I'm going to go for the Scald as he brings in his Sceptile this turn, actually. So I'm going to switch out into my Confagrius, because Confagrius can take this Sceptile since it's not a like a choice spec version, it's a Sword Stancing version. So he goes for Leaf Blade, that does nothing to Confagrius. And here I'm going to go, I think I go straight for the Shadow Ball, trying to do some damage to it. He brings in his Typhlosion, and does a decent chunk of Typhlosion, and drops his special defense. And I feel like I can wall that thing better with Slowking, so I actually bring in my Audino this turn. I'm still trying to Wish Pass back to my Crustle to be able to set up Stealth Rocks. He goes for a Sludge Wave, I go for a Wish, and I know I'm not going to be able to live another hit, so I think I just switch back out into my Slowking to get the Regenerator for Audino and get my HP back with a Wish, which I do. And here I'm just going to go for the Scald. He switches out into his Alomola to take it. Oh, actually, no, I go for the Dragon Tail, but I miss. He switches out and goes to his Uxie as I switch out and go to my Audino. And I'm just trying to get more HP back on my Audino with Regenerator and stuff like that. And here I predict him to go for the U-turn as I go for the Wish. And he switches out into his Nidoqueen. And I'm not sure what I do here. I think I switch out. No, he switches out into his Alomola. I switch out into my Slowking. And here I'm predicting him to go for a Toxic on my Slowking. So I switch out into my Tangrowth, because I really don't mind my Tangrowth getting Toxic, because I'd rather have it Toxic than burned or paralyzed. So I'm going to go for the Power Whip this turn as he goes for actually for the protect. No, I go for the hidden power fire, predicting Sceptile. Actually, here I go for the power whip as he goes for the wish. No, he switches out. He goes into Typhlosion as I go for the leech seed. I probably should have gone for sleep powder that turn, but instead I went for leech seed just to get some HP back, which it's not a bad play. I switch out. He goes into his Nidoqueen. I go into my Slow King. Pardon me. And I'm gonna go. I switch out, predicting him to switch out, but he stays in and goes for the Sludge Wave. And I'm not sure if my Sand Slash is faster. So I decide to switch back into my Slowking, knowing that I can probably survive 2 hits from this Nidoqueen. And so he goes for the Sludge Wave this turn, and it doesn't take me out, and I'm able to get a Slack off and get most of my HP back. So he switches out into Zuxi as I go for a Scald, and that allows me to get some more damage on the Duxie, wearing it down slowly but surely. He goes for a U-turn as I go for a, I think I go for a Dragon Tail this turn, predicting a switch out, which he switched out into Sceptile. Sceptile's getting pretty low, which is pretty good. He goes into Dragon Tail out into Typhlosion. I switch out and go into Auto-No, and I'm going to go finally get a Toxic on this Alamola, which is pretty good, because I haven't been able to Toxic that thing since I tried Toxicing, I think like turn 16 or something like that. So he switches out. I'm predicting to switch to Typhlosion. I'm going to get Toxic on his Typhlosion. I don't care that he get the Wish Pass. It doesn't really bother me. I have Toxic on it, and so it's not going to live forever now. And so he switches out and goes into a Sceptile. I could have predicted that, but it was risky on my part, so he predicts my switch to Slowking nicely, and I'm just going to... But luckily, I still have Confagrius, so his attacks aren't going to do anything to him. So in here, I think I predict... here I go for the Pain Split as he brings in his Typhlosion, which is really good for me, since that's going to knock down Typhlosion's health a lot with the Toxic damage. And so I'm up at 70% with my Confagrius as he goes into his Alamola. I'm predicting the, I think the Wish this turn as I go into my Slowking. Actually, no, he didn't go for the Toxic. Actually, I predicted Toxic this turn right here, and it misses, but it doesn't matter because my Tangrowth is already Toxic. And then I'm going to go for the Power Whip this turn, but I missed. That probably could have done a hefty chunk to Alamola, but I'm not exactly sure. So in the long run, it doesn't really matter, but here we go. It would have been nice in the short term. So I go for the Hidden Power Fire, predicting a Sceptile yet again, and he brings his Typhlosion to take that nicely. So I'm going to switch out into my Slowking to tank this Typhlosion as he goes for his Hidden Power. I'm not sure that's Electric, Dark, or super effective against Slowking. I'm not sure what it is, but it doesn't do anything because Slowking's a boss status special wall. I go for Dragon Tail as he brings that into his Nidoqueen. He gets Dragon Tailed out into Alamola, and I'm going to think I switch out here and go to my Auto-No, and I think we both go for Wishes this turn, or I think I go, if he goes for a Wish, I think I'm predicting, I'm not exactly sure I'm predicting him to switch into. I did predict him to do that, but again, I just didn't do it. I'm kind of a bad play on my part. I should have gone for the Flamethrower, and probably would have KO'd and saved me a lot of trouble, but I don't know why I didn't go for the Flamethrower there. Anyway, he goes for the Acrobatics on my Confagrius, and it does nothing. And here I'm going to go for the Shadow Ball, but he switches into his Munchlax, and I'm not exactly sure what this Munchlax is going to do, whether it's going to like Curse, Crunch, or whatever, so I just go for a Pain Split. He Whirlwinds me out into Slowking. I'm predicting it to be like a Rest Talking set, because that's what I usually see from Munchlaxes. So I go into my Auto-No, I'm trying to force it to go to Rest so I can hopefully bring in my Crustle and go for Stealth Rocks. So I go for Toxic this turn as it goes for another Body Slam. So here I'm kind of forced to switch out or else die. So I'm going to have, so I switch out into my Confagrius as it goes for the Rest this turn. And here, this is like my, I realize this is like my only opportunity to get like a safe switch into my, or as safe as it's going to be to my Crustle. And he goes for the Rest, for the Sleep Talk, and he gets the Rest. Unfortunately for him, fortunately for me, and I'm here, I'm a bar pair hacks, I'm actually going to be able to get my Stealth Rocks up finally. So, Stealth Rocks are up, I'm looking good finally. He goes for the Earth Power, kills off my Crustle, that doesn't matter, I've got Stealth Rocks up, I feel like I can win this game now. He goes into his Nidoqueen, he switches out of his Nidoqueen, goes into his Uxies. I go for the Scald, and I'm predicting him to go for a U-turn, I think. Actually, no, he just goes for the Thunder Wave. I was predicting the U-turn, so I go for a Dragon Tail, trying to phase him out into something. He goes into his, he gets Dragon Tailed out into his Nidoqueen. Here, I'm going to go for another Scald as his Alamola comes in, and I think I just go for a Dragon Tail this turn as he goes for a Wish. He goes for the Wish, and I go for the Dragon Tail, and Dragon Tail him out into his Nidoqueen. And here's really where you really can tell that his Nidoqueen is especially defensive set, because I go for a Scald and actually hit, and he does like, doesn't even do like, it is 55%. That's not that much against a it's low, so it's definitely especially bulky. So he brings back in his Alomola. I go for another Scald, and I go for a Slack off this turn, predicting his Wish, and I'm predicting to switch out into something, Wish Pass into something. Don't know what he's going to Wish Pass into, whether it be Uxie or Sceptile. And he actually goes out into Sceptile, and I actually get a Dragon Tail off, which is nice because I get some good damage on that Sceptile. And I actually Dragon Tail him back out into Nidoqueen. So he switches out into his Alomola, and here I'm going to switch out. I like to go for a Scald, actually. And here I'm going to switch out, predicting a Wish. I'm going to switch out to my Tangrowth, predicting his Wish. And he, in fact, does go for the Wish this turn. And I'm predicting him to switch out to Sceptile. And if I predict this right, I'm pretty sure I can win. The rest of the game is mine, because Sceptile is the only thing that really threatens a lot of my Pokemon. So I go for the Hidden Power Fire and actually am able to KO Sceptile. And Portis realizes that without Sceptile, his chances of winning this game are very slim, so he decides to run. Well, thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. I'm hoping to post battles every Thursday, so check back then. Thanks for watching.